Hey folks, Ken Carlson here with Country Guitar Chops. And what I'm going to show you here is some finger stretching exercises. And this is really, really important. What brought this to mind to do this lesson right now is springtime. And last fall, I had a couple trees removed from the front yard that the roots were growing up everywhere. So now that it's springtime, I'm out there with a pickaxe and a shovel digging up all of these roots before I can re-landscape, and my fingers are just like bleh. So I'm having to do a lot of stretching before I play right now, and this is something that you should do all the time anyway. When I'm gigging, every night before I start to play, I do some sort of finger stretching exercises and get my hands warmed up. I had quit playing for a few years, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And I hadn't played in a long time. And I wound up putting a studio together. And I was, just wanted to record and mess around. And I was trying to pick some fast stuff. And I wound up getting within a couple of hours, all of a sudden, boom, I've got this shrilling pain running up my arm. Every time I hold a chord, it was like, ugh, dreadful pain. And that's because I didn't stretch out, valuable lesson there that I learned. So I always stretch out. Another thing you can develop is carpal tunnel, which I did that years ago too. And it's just an aching pain on this side of the arm. And I mean, God, every song I got to shake it out. And I'll really quickly show you what helped for that if you're feeling carpal tunnel. Massaging your inside of your wrist right here. Just work those tendons. Okay. That's the only thing I know to do. And the reason I learned that was there just happened to be a therapist in the club one night while I was on break, happened to see me, favoring this wrist and showed me massaging it right in here would help. And it did help. Okay. So let's get on to the exercises I do. This is no rocket science. Let me put the guitar down. These are ones that I came up with on my own, and then watching YouTube, seeing what other guys are doing. They're basically doing the same thing. So I'll show you what I do, and you can take it from there. First, let me tell you what Ray Benson, I got this idea from Ray Benson, or tip, on a video that he did. He talked about playing in cold clubs, when your hands are cold. Goes into the dressing room or bathroom, whatever, run hot water. Not scalding hot, obviously, but hot as you can stand it, over your wrist and your hands. Just help get the blood flowing through there. And I do that quite a bit in the winter months. Another thing, rub my hands together, put my fingers in between each other, rub, getting some circulation going in there, rubbing the wrists together, round and around like this. And then between every exercise, I just shake my hands. They kind of feel after a stretch or something, they kind of feel tight. Even though they're stretched, I just shake them. Okay? Just whatever it takes to loosen them up. All right, this is the one that I do all the time. I take my fingertips, put them all together. And now I'm going to squeeze my hands together to this part, I guess you call that the balls of my finger. I don't put my palms together. Oh, let me do this. I don't put my palms together here, just the balls of the finger. I want to stretch the fingers. If I put the palms together and lift my elbows, I'm feeling it down in here, but I'm not really feeling it in my hands themselves. So I tend to push the balls of the fingers together. And you want to lift your elbows, and that gives you a stretch. Okay? You want to hold that for 10, 20 seconds or so. And then what I'll do, while keeping those elbows up, the higher you bring up the elbows, the more pressure you get, the more of a stretch you get. Then I start turning my hand slowly, facing it outward. And you can just feel it stretching all the muscles and tendons all the way up your arm. I mean, I'm feeling it clear up to my shoulder. And then I bring it back to my chest if I can. I mean, that's all the farther I can twist it towards me. Well, I guess I can go out to there. Okay. So again, elbows, keep that pressure on the elbows, or up, keep the, up pressure, lifting them up to get a nice good stretch. Okay. That's one I use probably the most right there. Another thing you can do is just push the fingers against each other. I don't know if you can see that. I'm taking like my middle finger and pushing against the other one, and then the opposite. Take the index, ring, pinky. Okay. When I'm done, I'm going to shake it loose. I'm feeling it from my shoulders on down. So I'm just going to shake it off before I start the next exercise. The next one that I use, and I say next, there's no order in the way I do these. It's just whatever happens to come to mind. The next one I'm going to do is stretching my fingers apart. Okay. I'm going to stretch this way. And the way I do that is I just take my 4 fingers and put it like on the last knuckle of the finger, in between the fingers. And then I just spread these apart, getting a stretch that way. Again, hold that for 10, 20 seconds, however long. Go to the next finger, do the same, get a good stretch. Another thing you can do is kind of twist your hand a little bit. And of course, you want to do these on both hands, by the way, not just your fretting hand. You don't want to do it on just your fretting hand because this hand, especially if you're hybrid picking, you're going to want that dexterity in there too. So do it on both hands. Let's see. What's another one I do? I tend to do this one here. I mean, the first 2 I showed you are the ones that I do all the time. This one here I don't do enough because this one will really help stretch these out. And I just grab all 4 fingers, lock your elbow. In other words, you have your arm straight out, lock that elbow, and gently pull that wrist fingers towards your body, and you'll feel the stretch on the top of your arm. Now, I twist my elbow a little bit. Again, working all those tendons and muscles in there. I see other guys talk about doing 1 finger at a time. However you want to do that there. It's probably better to do 1 finger at a time. You get the individual stretch. Shaking your fingers if you want. Again, you want to do that on both hands. I think as far as stretching, that's basically all I do there. But it is very important, and I do this, like I said, before every gig. I'm going to do this one here and this one here. I recommend doing this one too. Like I said, this is the one that when I damaged my arm, it was that muscle right in there that I can feel, or tendon, whatever it is. That's the one that was really hurting. So I would do all of those. Just do it for a few minutes before you gig, and then once you've stretched out, then do a few exercises on the guitar, whether it be scales or just running up chromatically, which I'll do another lesson on that for you. All right, see you on the next lesson.